I want William Ruto to know that his removal from office is a national priority agenda.
Nilikuwa nimewaambia intention ya President William Samoei Arap Ruto ilikuwa ni kumalizia ODM party. Ukiangalia vizuri video zangu pale nyuma, utakuja kupatana na video ambayo nilikuwa nakwambia wakati William Ruto amechukua jukumu ya kufanya agreement na Raila Amolo Odinga, then ujue tu William Ruto ako na njama ya kumalizia ODM party. Why? This is because wakati ambapo Raila Odinga aliingia pale ndani, Wakenya wengi wakaacha kutrust Raila Amolo Odinga. Na Raila Odinga ni ODM party leader. So kama utaacha kutrust Raila Amolo Odinga, then automatically you'll come to realize that ODM party watu wengi wange exit. Unaona watu wangu? Na hiyo ndio kitu imefanyika saa hizi. Ukiangalia Mizani Africa wameweza kufanya poll yao. Unaona watu wangu? Ukiangalia kwa hiyo poll, UDA party iko na 58% kwa hiyo constituency. Na ukiangalia DCP party imekuja kuwa number 2. Imekuja kuwa number 2, na hiyo ndio party mgeni hapa nchini Kenya. Imelaunchiwa na Rigathi Gachagua, the former deputy president, mtu impeached. Unaona watu wangu? Then inayofuata ni UDM party. UDM party iko na 4.9. Unaona watu wangu? 4.9%. Na inafuatwa na ODM party 3.9%. Uniambie sasa ODM party iko wapi? Na what about Edwin Sifuna kiexit saizi? Nini itafanyika? And that's why kwa hii video Raila Odinga anaona fireworks huku akiendelea kulia machozi. Juu party yake imeanza kuachwa kwa mataa. Watu wameanza kujoin new parties. Unaona watu wangu? Kumechemuka. And that's why even pastors in church today wanasema kwamba it was Raila Amolo Odinga's fault kuingia kwa serikali ya William Ruto without consolidating Kenyans ambao walikuwa na imani ya ODM party. Unaona watu wangu? So kumechemuka. And show me like video. Na nasema thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. Kwa hivyo guys, without wasting time, don't forget Edwin Sifuna alikuwa anatuambia nini? Edwin Sifuna anatuambia kwamba yeye ameona kabisa kwamba watu wameacha scrambling to ODM party. Wameacha scrambling to ODM party. Unaona watu wangu? Hii mambo ya grassroots, hakuna mtu anashtuka na ODM party. Watu wameanza kuangalia new parties. Kumaanisha Raila Odinga naachwa kwa mataa. I can tell you. And that's why Raila Odinga na plan exiting. But it is too late.
Some of these associations, because it is hurting us. Yvonne, we have by-elections coming up. We try and talk to candidates. For the first time, people are not scrambling for our ticket. For the first time, I've never experienced anything like this. They are telling me, I want to be in parliament. I love ODM, but if I go with the ticket, I will lose. Because of your association with UDA, not because ODM is a bad party.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's a coincidence or what is going on. Because City, you will remember, I tried to be, or I had aspired to move from my position as SG of the party and move up to the deputy party leader's position, which in my view was a promotion. But I was given this story about heart. That there are certain positions that are at the heart of the party that you cannot vacate to seek others, and so on and so forth. So it's very interesting that you're being employing the same terminology to ask me questions about status of a party. One of the things I want to start off by saying is that we will write our own story. We will tell our own story. And as I've said before, the truth does not change depending on who believes it or whether people believe it or not. So I have seen a concerted effort for people to write the story of ODM and where we are. And it doesn't matter how well you explain yourself. People have already made up their minds. They're like, oh, we no longer believe anything that you say. That's fine. That is up to you. But the truth does not change depending on who or whether, in fact, people believe it.
What is the truth?
I have seen efforts by others to push us into government. My friend Natembea is notorious for that, saying ingia huko ndani na mubaki huko ndani. I'm like, bro, si wache sisi wenyewe, we make decisions about our own futures and where we stand. Others are pushing us out of other things. I've seen people saying ODM now needs to leave Azimio.
Yes.
Yesterday I wake up.
Else a chance to lead.
Yes, I wake up and a major publication in the country has a screaming headline saying Raila retires. And when you read the story, what you expect is to see a quotation from Raila saying, I have now had enough of local politics, I am retiring. There is no such quotation. I mean, let the man speak for himself. Let the party speak for itself. What is this desire that suddenly people have to tell our stories? It's not as if we are hatujashindwa kuongea, mdomo wetu haijaenda mahali.
So what is the story?
I want to explain something here. Nipe tu time. You see, Kenya has become a very interesting place. I don't know what people expect. I've seen people saying, oh, we don't see Sifuna going to media anymore. Because they don't know how you people work. This station does not belong to my mother. I have to be invited here. City, why am I here? How am I here?
Because we invited.
Who called me? Did I call you?
No, I called
you called me and asked me if I can share insights. Somebody says, I've not heard you speaking in Senate since. Senate is on recess, for heaven's sake. You want me to just go there and address the public? I've also, through my social media, tried to let people know where I've been. I was in the US for almost 2 weeks for the Democratic National Convention, took opportunity to meet with Kenyans there. All of those things, I've told people where I am. And there's people making careers on social media explaining where Sifuna is. I mean, I have told you where I am. So let me tell you where the party is.
Okay.
ODM remains an opposition party. We are a member of the minority party in the National Assembly. And in the Senate. And we will continue to execute our role in that capacity. I was elected to the Senate to exercise mandate in 3 ways: to legislate, to oversight, and to represent. And I would dare anyone to tell me where I have failed in any one of those 3 mandates. Yesterday we had public hearings before the Committee on Labour and Social Welfare on my bill to amend the Sports Act to be able to provide resources for the operations and running of the registered county sporting associations. And I was very happy that the turnout was very impressive. We had over 40 sporting disciplines represented from across the country coming to give their views about that particular piece of legislation. I am happy that I came back to the country when all the fanfare and the homecomings are over. It felt a bit like the situation in, I think it's the book of Exodus, when Moses came down from the mountain and found his people had fashioned themselves a shiny new golden calf
to worship.
Yes.
Okay.
But I am sure the excitement will die down. I'm happy that now we are done with the homecomings. People need to get back to work. In fact, in this discussion of banning Harambes, one of the things that we should ban should be these homecomings by public appointed servants.
You agree?
I agree strongly. Because what is the point of all that?
Yeah.
What is the point of all that? In addition to banning things like launching projects, let us come to open the complete thing. This thing of there's just a guy whose job is to make those plaques that the president opens, and then I think they even cut it away. Like I have seen in some places, Morara has gone. The plaque disappeared. So along with those things, we need to ban these homecomings, because I don't understand this excitement. You've been appointed to an office, you have done nothing at all in that office other than know where your seat is, and then you want to make all this noise in the grassroots telling people, oh, now I'm a big person. The big person should come out in the changes you've brought around in your docket and the things that you've done to help the people of Kenya to move some of the issues that have brought us to this place. So you can expect that members of ODM will continue to execute their mandate to hold these people to account, to be able to ask the relevant questions, to ensure that things are done and nothing will change.
Will there be a push from, and I want to ask this very clearly.
Yes.
The 3 individuals who are members of the ODM party,
yes,
right, who have now been made cabinet secretaries, are in positions whereby had previously pushed on matters,
yes,
especially in Parliament, had pushed on particular matters for there to be transparency and accountability. Yeah. From where you sit, will there be just as much as a robust push on these fellows who were in the party making the same?
Oh my
push
goodness, they know me. If you ask them, in fact, they don't expect anything less. We are clear that they are not there to implement ODM policies. They are the president's men. They are there to, in whatever understanding of their own understanding of the bottom-up manifesto, That is what they are there to do. And you can expect that we will hold their feet to the fire. I have said, for instance, I was a bit puzzled when I heard Oparanya saying that he will now come for people who have not paid the Hustler Fund. I was with him at Kamkunji saying these people should take this money and they should not return it. So that is hypocrisy. We will call him out for that hypocrisy. He is the one who told those young people. I was there. He spoke after me. I had said the same thing he said. So he cannot then come and tell us that now you have to pay this money back. John Mbadi knows for a fact that if he tries to introduce the bad sections of the finance bill, we will oppose it. So whatever it is they are doing there in that government, they know what they signed themselves into. Yes, but they can expect, in fact, they would be disappointed if they would not see robust interrogation of everything they do within government, because that is what ODM is, and that is what the role of parliament is. Yeah.
Okay,
I was curious when Mheshimiwa talked about the being the minority and ODM not dying still in the Azimio coalition, and that we should not speak for them. Perhaps for clarity, your leader, of course, common leader Enigma, is in the race for the AUC chairperson, and he mentioned, I believe, if I'm not wrong and I'm not misquoting him, that he will not be very active in local politics as is required. So there is where the questions come and clarifications, because we've had Kalonzo Musyoka saying, well, I'm going to be taking over as the head or leader of the Azimio coalition. So where are we really?
Because I will explain something to you. Politics is like Ndi himself said, is a contact sport. It requires presence on the ground. So if you're going for an assignment that is going to take you away from the people and to interact with the daily issues, it is possible that you will scale down the level of involvement just by the nature of the role that you're taking up. So that is not to say you have retired, because retirement has certain connotations that you have abandoned that practice and that you have no chance of coming back. That is not what is happening in this particular situation. It is expected, for instance, that if you're going to spend long periods of time outside the country canvassing for votes like he's doing in China, for instance, or even if and when he succeeds, and we pray that he does, the assignment will take you to places outside your political ground. It essentially means that you will not be as active as you could have been. Because it is very easy to be active in politics when you are here in Nairobi or in Homa Bay. But if you are in Kuala Lumpur, somewhere in a conference of African heads of state, it becomes difficult for you to have active role and practice of politics on a day-to-day. So that is what he meant. And that is not to mean that he has retired. On the question of the leadership of Azimio, I can understand the anxiety on the part of Kalonzo, because as a presumptive heir to that particular position, he might have wanted to expedite the ascension to the throne. I will leave judgment as to whether what he's doing is right to the general public, because in my view, first of all, I'm not in a position to judge, because I'm one of those people who has also once announced myself into a position before I was given, and I don't think I'm in a position to judge, but eventually I did get the position. So I can understand his anxiety, but the only rider I would add is that Azimio will only be beneficial to Kalonzo Musyoka if we stay together.
All right.
And one of the things that I want to tell all the members of the coalition is that hakuna kuachana. Hakuna kuachana.
Okay.
So they say hapa Nairobi, mapenzi yako ikiisha, I hotspot you. We will use our laugh if yours has run out.
To bring
but
together.
Because this coalition is a formidable coalition, and it carries along with it the aspirations of many Kenyans. It would be heartbreaking, I believe, if we were not able to manage the succession in a way that keeps us together, because we represent something for the Kenyan public, and there's many people who have put their hopes in us as a coalition.
This is true. Sanisa, but I have to jump in here because perceived or otherwise, that ODM was or is quite a significant member of Azimio. That the leader of Azimio is an ODM member. Is the party leader of ODM.
Yes.
Right? And so with recent happenings that we have seen, that there seems to have been a marriage between party leader and the coalition leader and the government of the day for whom there was significant opposition before all of this happened.
Yes.
And so it waters down expectations, where people are saying, how will you then keep the position which you've clearly stipulated here and being on the same side as government? It is a worry, it is a concern. How do you see that playing out?
Personally, I understand those people who hold those views, but it also requires an explanation of the sort of constitutional setup that we have. Even if we had an ODM government, even if the president was from ODM, as a member of the legislature, my job is not to praise government. That's not my job. My job as an elected member of parliament is to oversight whoever is at the executive. Now, I can understand those people who express those worries and say, but they say the proof of a pudding is in the eating. What you need to do is to observe the conduct of the party over a period of time. It is not something you will be told. You will see. If we abdicate our role as opposition, instead of saying we are going to abdicate, why don't you wait for us to abdicate? Yes. But from where I stand, there is a commitment from a majority of the party. In fact, all of the party is very clear that there is no marriage. There is nothing like a marriage. Marriage is not something you can hide. It's not something that is done clandestinely.
But
it is something that is done
It is
openly.
in the open.
So
but it is in the open. That's what people are saying, Edwin.
Now, let me tell you.
And we've seen some in the past.
One of the things that we need to appreciate, for instance, the discussion that happened around the handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta, it was something that was formalized. You understand? So, as SG of ODM, I speak for the institution of the party. I can only tell you things that have been processed through the party organs. I am an SG of ODM. I only speak for the party and its organs. If a decision, for instance, has been taken at the Central Committee, it is my responsibility to explain to you that this is the position that the party has taken on X or Y. If it has not been processed through the party, you don't expect me to come here and tell you there's a marriage. Marriages, I have signed marriages between ODM and other political parties. I remember queuing behind all the 26 other secretary generals at KICC to sign ODM into the Azimio marriage.
All right.
I have not done that. Again, I am still in that marriage. So until that happens, please, you cannot talk about a marriage, because from a political perspective and from a legal political perspective, marriages in between political parties only take effect upon formalization, and then you have to go to the registrar and tell the registrar
it does seem as
that we are in a marriage.
It does seem as though there's some swimming in uncharted waters, and that's why there was a lack of
it's not uncharted
desire
waters.
to
it's not
call
uncharted
it for
waters.
what it is.
One of the things that Kenyans forget is that the political class talk. It is obvious that there are talks between the president and my party leader, and these are conversations that they have in private. In fact, I was surprised. One of the SGs of our affiliate party saying, no, I know for a fact Uhuru did not call you. Bana boss, these are people who call each other, and they will not add you to the call. Yeah, they will not add you to the call.
It's not a group call.
It's not a group call. Oh wait, we had Sifuna. No, these people talk. That is the reality of a matter. But when you talk about formal marriages, these things have to be processed, because the discussion around Honorable Raila's bid for AUC and the fact that it requires sponsorship or support from government,
back
it necessarily means these people will be talking. You know? So the fact that they are talking is not in dispute, and he has said as much, but I can only authoritatively speak on things that are processed through formal party organs and conversations that involve me.
Okay. Yeah. Quick news that we got this morning of, unfortunately, the fire that happened in school in Nyeri County overnight, early this morning, and we've seen the loss of 16 lives. Very, very unfortunate fire that took place. At least 16 people confirmed dead at the Hillside Endarasha Academy in Nyeri County following a fire tragedy last night. National Police Service spokesman Rasila Onyango has confirmed one of the dormitories housing the pupils was razed down, killing 16. Quite unfortunate that we have to see that news this morning. Quite a sad one that we've lost 16 young lives in this way. May they rest in peace. But I mean,
that is terrible news. I was just seeing it filtering through, and maybe at this juncture to just say, Paul Esana, we shouldn't have repeats of these school fires. I thought that following the reforms I think it was following the fire at Kianguli. It was years back.
Yeah.
I thought that the Ministry of Education had put in place mechanisms to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
But after that, remember it happened at Moi Nairobi Girls. Yes. And that was horrific.
Yeah.
And now here we go again.
Sad to see. Very, very sad to see.
Yeah, so my condolences to all those that are affected, and I'm hoping that we in the leadership will be able to do something to ensure that things like this don't continue to happen as we get to interact more with the facts of this particular incident.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
First, I would, of course, stand in the same spirit that may their souls rest in peace. It's very sad, and may their families get the comfort. Now, I like that you mentioned something, because earlier on we were deep in politics, but we've also spoken about lost money. People in different counties speaking on revenues, and this particular fourth proposal, revenue sharing formula. I'm very curious, because I'm also seeing, adjacent to that, the Senate is calling an audit of counties' revenue amid corruption claims. If I take us back a bit in hindsight, last year, headlines had it that counties were at the verge of crashing completely. In fact, they were saying, shut down this thing if it's not working. You sit in the Senate, and we'd like to first start with where do you think we are at? Because if counties are asking for a certain amount of money, you have continued to ask them to show first how they, collect their own revenue and what they do with this money. A number of comments coming in are saying, we're not seeing what these governors are doing with the money that is given to them. Where are we, Senator, with this fourth proposal, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, I believe that whereas the problem of misuse of funds and corruption are present at both levels of government, there is an inordinate focus on county governments. As a strong believer in devolution, we have not done enough to ensure that devolution works. The money that you're talking about, this year was the first time that the Senate pushed the allocation of counties beyond the 400 billion barrier. 400 billion is how much? Is less than 10% of the 4 trillion, right?
Yes.
Yes, of the amount of money that national government budget, the size of a government national budget is 4 trillion shillings. So it is a drop in the ocean, but that is not to say that we should not follow every cent and coin. Now, there is actually now a discussion in Senate that, the president returned the Division of Revenue Act and the County Allocation of Revenue Act back to us with a proposal to cut down the allocation back to 380, which is less than the amount of money that counties were going to receive. We received last year. As a position, as members of the Azimio coalition, our position is that you cannot reduce the money that goes to counties. It is not possible. So, in fact, the law anticipates some of these situations, and they say that if there is any shortfall in the financing of a budget, that shortfall should be borne by the national government, not by the county governments.
Right.
So you can expect that Sifuna, as a senator of Nairobi, who swore to uphold the constitution and defend counties and their governments, will vote against any attempts to reduce the allocation of money to the counties. There are various challenges that counties face. Do you know that counties are told, this is your allocation this year? Say Nairobi, last year, this year we said they're going to get 20 billion Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
And then there is something else that the Senate passes called a disbursement schedule. This disbursement schedule is supposed to guide the county to know when the money is going to come from Treasury. So you will see that of that 20 billion, it is spread over maybe a 12-month period, and they get maybe 2 billion per month. But it doesn't happen like that. It never happens like that. You can find counties have gone almost 4 months without the exchequer releases from Treasury. Yes. So it is extremely difficult for a county government to operate in that particular sort of, So if, for instance, we have said you're supposed to set aside 3% of your 20 billion for disaster management. But that 3%, at what point do you apply it? Because the money has not come in. It has delayed for 3 months. Then you get maybe a quarterly allocation, then another quarter, then another quarter. What happens when there is a disaster of the level of what we have seen, say, in Kieni, and your county government has no money? So the challenges, by the way, these late exchequer releases are contribute largely to the challenges we have at the county governments of even pending bills and all the other things. But we as a Senate have decided that even with those challenges, there is still some money that trickles down to the county governments, and they need to employ that money for the benefit of the people of their respective counties. Most of these counties, if you look at their audits, you will find challenges that have not left us since before the advent of devolution. For instance, we passed a law that says you cannot spend more than 35% of the money that comes to the counties on recurrent expenditure, and especially employee emoluments. But you have a county government like Nairobi that inherited this huge workforce and that you cannot sack, you know? So you find...
Why can't you sack them?
Because they have employment terms. They were employed during the previous, what is it called? County council, and they're waiting to retire. It would put you into very serious legal quagmire, and you would still have to pay them anyway because they have valid contracts of employment, you know. So that is a challenge. You see county governments pushing the employee emoluments upwards of 60% of all the revenue that comes in.
65,
so,
actually.
yes, if you speak to the CEC for finance in Nairobi County, he will tell you that you see that discussion of the disbursement schedule. That amount that comes per month, if it were to come per month, it is equivalent to the salary of Nairobi for the workers of Nairobi. So it becomes very difficult for us to plan. This is why we also push many of these counties to be able to ensure efficiency in collection of on-source revenue so that they can be able to do some things and execute some projects for the people of their respective counties. So, now, corruption and wastage is a big challenge in the counties, you know. So what happens is the people with the mandate to audit the use of public resources at the Office of the Auditor General.
Yes, they are.
And what happens is, after they prepare the reports, we in the Senate, and I happen to sit on the Public Accounts Committee, we will go through those accounts together with the entities themselves. And we will go to site to physically examine some of these projects. You have seen us either individually as senators or even as a committee. We have gone to places like Turkana. We have gone to other counties to also see what is happening. Even here in Nairobi, we have had interactions with the Senate Committee on Health, for instance, coming to look at our health facilities. Myself, in my own personal capacity as a senator, I have audited all these projects to do with health, even in sporting facilities, and all these other things. Now, what happens is, we depend on other institutions to actually bring the corrupt to book.
Who?
The EACC.
Those
are the ones who have the legal mandate. Because what happens is, and I'll give you the example, for the past 2 years or so, over 150 cases have been referred to the EACC by one committee of the Senate, the Public Accounts Committee. And when we ask the EACC, where are we on these cases? You will hear a lot of
just hang on, Senator.
Yes.
Let's look at this process as it plays out.
Yeah.
The Auditor General goes through, as she is mandated to do, through all of this, especially, it is just on expense. It's on spending money, whether it's at the county level, national level, wherever it is.
Absolutely.
If there are queries, these are raised and they form part of a report.
Yeah.
The report for discussion is brought before the Senate because it's captured in its role of oversight.
Absolutely.
So you then look through all these reports that she brings, especially those ones where queries have been raised.
Yes.
What you're telling us is that you take those queries and that you then come up with a further report where there are recommendations as to what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
These recommendations are then now taken to the bodies who have the mandate to deal with any kind of impropriety or things like that.
Correct.
So what you're saying essentially is that you then play a remindery role where you keep saying, hello, EACC, we've told you that this has gone off. You need to do something about it.
Absolutely.
Are you essentially saying that Senate has done its job on the queries that have been raised, but that nothing has been done in terms of requisite action
Absolutely.
to the reports that have been raised?
The committee has had occasion to summon even the leadership of EACC to come, and even the DCI, because some of the criminality requires DCI to be the ones to undertake investigations. Unfortunately, for us as a Senate, we operate within the bounds of the law. There's powers that we have and powers that we do not have. In fact, if you listen or followed the conversation in the Senate, we have gotten to a place where we are so frustrated ourselves, we want to even invoke the power to stop monies going to some of these counties. But then there is the balance to be made between, whether the intended consequence would be to punish the people or to punish the county government. You understand? So, and progressively, we are going to have to address some of the challenges we have in the oversight bodies. The Office of the Auditor General, for instance, complains to us repeatedly that they are underfunded and under-resourced. We have had meetings of the Senate Public Accounts Committee adjourned because officers of the OAG from Kisumu Hub who audit the Nyanza counties were not able to travel. They have no fare, you know. They have no fare. So you can imagine putting an auditor who has no resources at the mercy of a county governor, for instance, who is awash with the money. It is putting them in a position where it is very easy to compromise them. You speak to the EACC, they will tell you the same thing. Now, for instance, our committees have liaisons seconded to our committee to essentially help us as legislators to do this job. We have officers from Treasury. We have an officer from EACC who sits in PAC. We have an officer from, what is the other one? OAG. So they are essentially the eyes and the ears of the committee.
So kumechemuka mbaya tena zaidi. And that's why Raila Odinga anaambiwa ukijaribu saizi kufanya blanda sasa ya kufaya Edwin Sifuna, then utakuwa umefanya blanda ya kubaki na hiyo ODM party ukiwa peke yake. Juu kila mtu atatoka pale. Juu saizi ODM party isaidie mtu yeyote, Raila Odinga saidie mtu yeyote. Raila Odinga ameingia pale na tumbo yake na kuendelea. Even if watu wanaenda kujiregister kwa hii ODM party, ni hizo doo ni zake tu. Hakuna siku Raila Odinga pia atasimama na kusema kwamba nasaidia maskini, nasaidia nini. Unakumbuka ile wakati Raila Odinga alikuwa anaingia AUC, mtumishi wa Mungu mmoja akasema kwamba Raila Odinga, toa mali yako nusu peane yatima na wajane. Raila Odinga hakufanya hivyo. That's why Raila Odinga anakumbwa na ile kasumba ya kufanya nini, ya kulose election.
And Matthew lubricate a nomination for the ELA East Africa position. The only nomination we also got for a member of county assembly came from another community, and yet we are very marginalized community. We are only 2 elected members of county assembly from ODM party. And you have failed us, Mzee. You owe us, you owe the people of Laikipia North, and you owe Matthew Leberkel family a lot. Matthew amefungwa mara mingi, si kwa sababu ingine, kwa sababu anasimama na chama ya ODM. We in ODM, we get profiled in Laikipia North politics. People have specialized in using government institution to silence the ODM membership in Laikipia North. Saa hii ndio tuko na shida sana. Hatujui kama tuko UDA, hatujui kama tuko nusu mkate. We are confused. We need direction. Na Mheshimiwa Sifuna, whatever you are speaking, not anybody silence you. Tuko pamoja. Tell them the truth, and we will stand with you. The moment ODM touches you from grassroots, we will walk away. We were never elected because of party. We were elected because of what we stand. And therefore what you are speaking, sisi hatuko UDA, and we don't support what they are doing. We don't. Wamekuja mara 10, wamelaunch barabara ya Doldol na Nyuki. Up to today, no inch. No inch. It is only in Laikipia North where people are not educated to be appointed as PSS, as MDs in parastatus. Simply because it is known Laikipia North is the stronghold of ODM. Nothing else, not because we are not educated, it's simply because we are members of ODM. Mzee, time for you to speak for us when you are still alive. Speak for us. We deserve projects in national government. We have none as we speak. It's only in Laikipia North where we don't have mega dams or mega dams for water for our people. We don't. And it's not that we don't fight, we only fought for you. And now because you are in government, fight for Laikipia North. Fight for Laikipia North. Na usisikie mtu amekuwa appointed Samburu, Narok, Kajiado ufikirie ni Laikipia. Hapana, we are Laikipia Masai and we deserve our share. We deserve it. We deserve it. Thank you. Nataka nishukue muda mfupi. Nimeambiwa ni recognize aspirant wote. Kama unasimama MCA, inua mkono hapo. Tafadhali amka. Wale wanasimama MP, simameni. Wale wanatafuta kiti ya MP mahali huko,